Hi, Middle Age Gamers. Welcome back to another Middle Age Gaming podcast. We are here with the last episode of the year. Next week is Christmas, so happy holidays if you are celebrating, and if you're not, it is the end of the year. It's wonderful. Today's our last special episode. That doesn't mean that we won't have any videos next year, as we usually record about 9 videos an episode, and I only release like 5 because we do Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So there's a bunch of videos that haven't been released, and my plan is to publish them next week for the last week of the year. So keep an eye out for those. Without further ado, Adam's going to tell us the theme and idea for today and what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, so what I was thinking was as we play through games of the year, sometimes we see things and we're like, wow, this is really great. Either it's a genius idea or it makes things a lot more convenient, or just some feature that we really enjoy. And we really think, you know what, I really hope that more games are doing this in the future, either to accommodate more players or because it's just a great feature that we think should be added to more games. And that's basically it.
So, Adam, you should get us started.
All right, my first game is going to be from Apex Legends. This is something that my friends and I always talk about, and I've not seen this in other games, and it's something that was noticeably lacking when I played Naraka Blade Point. And if you've played these kind of games, especially with online people that you don't necessarily know, some people are afraid to go into chat and just say things. So, of course, these games add some sort of ping system, right, where you can ping something and say, "Hey, there's this weapon over here in case anybody wants to pick it up, or let's go over in that direction and whatnot." And so basically, a lot of these games have it. League of Legends has it. Apex has it. I'm sure games like Valorant have it. I haven't played it, but I'm sure they do. Naraka has it. And you can also designate objects if you see like a shield or something, and you're like, hey, if somebody wants to pick it up, and then somebody else can ping that, and then basically they dibs it, which means that other people on the team can't pick it up. So if you say, "Hey, I want that," then you get exclusivity to it. But Apex does a thing that I haven't seen in other games. I'm sure it's in something, but I haven't seen it. And that is that when you pick up something that somebody else has either pinged previously, or if you pick up something that somebody else has dropped, so, for example, if you have a certain level of shield and you pick up a better shield, and then somebody else comes up behind you and picks up your old shield because it's a benefit to them, you get a little prompt on the side and you press that button, and your character will thank them for whatever it is. So if my friend, they know that I like a certain kind of weapon, they see it in a crate, they mark it. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. So I can go over there, I can grab it. And when I pick it up, I get the option to thank them for pinging that for me. And then on top of that is if somebody thanks you, you get a prompt that allows you to say you're welcome. And I think this is just a brilliant thing that just adds positivity to the community. Like when you have lots of games, say, League of Legends, they're notorious for the community being very toxic and people always getting angry at each other. And we have lots of ways to, show dissatisfaction. But I really like the idea that there's a feature in it that if somebody does something to you immediately, it's just a simple button press. The prompt comes up, you press the button, and you thank them for it. I think that just adds a lot of positivity. It was something that I was really noticing lacking when I played Naraka Blade Point is that somebody says, "Oh, hey, there's this weapon over here. It's purple." I'm like, "Great." I run over there, I pick it up, and they have no idea whether I've picked it up or whether that was useful to me in any way or anything. They just know, hey, I marked it and move on. So I really like that kind of like feedback and interaction with the players where you have this kind of feeling of positivity that you can do that. And then on top of that, I just want to note that PlayStation used to have a feature that was called PlayStation Accolades. They had it when the PS5 first came out. Not many games were using it, unfortunately, but what it was basically a system where when you play a game, after the game is over, then what you could do is you could come along and say, certain games would have this thing come up and it would say, would you like to evaluate other players? And so what you could do is you could just press that button and it would pop up, and then you could just say like they had 4 categories: helpful, good sport, leader, and welcoming. And basically what you could do is after the end of a match, you could just go in and for each player you could say, oh, this person was a leader. So basically, or this person was helpful. And if you like, for example, this was a veteran player and helping you out. So I really like the fact that they had this idea to do it, and you could go and you could look at all these awards that other people had given you for saying, "Oh, you're a really helpful player." And supposedly, it should have helped with matching. For example, if somebody was a new player, then it would help with matching new players with veteran players that were really highly ranked and helpful and things like that. But unfortunately, not many games implemented it, so they did sunset it. So that's not a feature anymore. But I really like that idea of putting positive feedback into your game as a feature to be used. I think that's a great idea, and I wish more games would do it.
I can actually think of two games with this feature.
Oh yeah.
First one is thanks to you, the Dragon Dogma, how you evaluate the pawn of other player,
Mm.
which I thought was quite fun actually. You evaluate how they look, how they was helpful, and the third category I can't remember. You can even give them a gift of a weapon or something, which is pretty cool. And second game, I think, but I've never been. But in FF14, I seem to recall that you have a mentor channel where
Yeah,
you could.
yeah, yeah, and in Final Fantasy 14, they do have commendations where at the end you can award one person a commendation. But the thing about that is that it's basically a catch-all. It's not like the PlayStation one where you could say like why you're commendating them, but yeah, Final Fantasy 14 does have that, and if you receive a certain number of commendations, then you can become a. Do they call them mentors? Yeah, I think they're called mentors. Yeah, you can get the mentor status if you get enough commendations.
I think there was a special channel actually you can access as a mentor to help new players.
Yeah, there's a channel that is available to new
Right.
players, and so, like, newer players have the access to this channel where they can ask questions, and then if you're a mentor, you regain access to this so you can help people with their things. But then apparently in Final Fantasy 14 unfortunately in Final Fantasy 14, a lot of people who do reach the mentor status don't like to have the icon over their head saying they're a mentor, because apparently a lot of mentors have a reputation for kind of having a bad attitude. So what people will do is they will, yeah, because people will farm for these commendations by, for example, healers get them a lot and tanks get them a lot because tanks are the ones that are leading the party. So some people will specifically go out to fulfill these roles just to get a bunch of these, get the mentor status, and then they use that to lord over people and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm this great person who has all." So unfortunately, a lot of mentors don't have the best reputation in Final Fantasy 14. But I do like the system. I think it's a great system. Yeah,
All right,
that's it.
Antoine.
My 2 cents over there.
Oh no, I mean your first one.
Oh, first story. Okay, all right. Yeah, since last week we talked about the Game Awards, I shamelessly, sorry, pilfered over the nominees of the accessibility category. So sorry about this, but you know what? I learned a lot of things for this podcast, so I'm actually glad I did. And first game I picked was actually the winner last week or 2 weeks ago, anyway, which is Forza Motorsports. So honestly, I haven't played racing games since Colin McRae Rally on PlayStation 1 eons ago, which show my age, but anyway. When you tell me that, yes, I'm gonna make, or Mario Kart, for instance, and I'm gonna make a blind player play, not Mario Kart, but Forza Motorsport, which is much more like a simulation, so real gameplay, and we're not throwing turtles on the racetrack, right? I would say, oh, that must be a tough challenge. And apparently, they did great. Like the studio, the developers, honestly, I don't remember the name and I should have noted it, but they created, so I'm going to take my notes over here, something called the Blind Driving Assist, so BDA. And it's a system which is a set of audio cues. Of course, you have a player which either doesn't see or see extremely little, so he won't be able to read or really see the cars or the cues. It's a set of audio cues, screen narration solution, which helps the player navigate on the track. And if you go to their website, they show you how they did it. They had this blind player doing the tester and consultant, and he says it takes time. It can be a bit frustrating because it takes time to. It's innovative, right? No one did it before, so you have to get used to the system. And we hope that this kind of system, which apparently is really good, and that's why they got nominated. Oh, actually, they won the Game Award. Will be more democratized on the future racing game, right? So just take your time to get used to these set of audio cues, and in no time or in some time, then even blind people can beat the bots on the racetrack and actually can enjoy the racing game, which it's fantastic because you asked me before this, I would have said, how can blind people drive a car? And Now they can, thanks to their work. So I found this really cool. And basically, the audio cues gives them cues on where they are on the track, some kind of or how you call this, like a 3D audio which tells them how close they are from the edge, where the other car are on the tracks. So their position, orientation, and the car performance. There's also something called the one touch driving. One touch driving allows players to race with a variety of input combinations. So it's beneficial for the players who have like mobility and stamina disabilities. You don't, and I'm gonna talk about this in a Hi-Fi Rush later as well. But basically, if you don't want to, if you can't, more like you don't want, if you can't input a complex set of instruction on your pad, this helps you, and it's really customizable apparently. So better car control if you have issue with a pad or something like this. So it's pretty cool, and now people with disabilities can play a racing car. That's fantastic.
That's pretty awesome. I know it's something like I when did I had started wearing glasses when I was 12. My eyesight has gotten progressively worse as I've gotten older, which is fine. But the problem is, like, as you get older as well, you can't really put in contact lenses, so your glasses just get thicker and thicker. But it's always been a worry of mine. Oh my God, what if I can't see? Can I still play games? And it's always nice to hear that there's innovative technologies being created so that no matter if you're impaired or if you're really blind, that you can still enjoy games. And if you can enjoy a racing game, that means you can enjoy pretty much any other game, slow or fast, which is pretty good.
So the reason that Forza won, that's my understanding, right? Because for this podcast, I saw a few YouTubers which actually have disabilities themselves, either motor or eyesight, and they were saying that the good stuff of Forza is that you can play without anyone assisting you on the side. The text to speech and the narrative of the game will guide you through the menus, and you can do everything by yourself, which is not the case of the games I'm going to talk later, which they all have their great point in accessibility, but most of the time need someone who can read next to them and guide them to the. Typically, I'm not going to talk about them. There's a Tekken and no, not Tekken, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. I could have talked about them, but I gave up very quickly because, first of all, it's the same. It's some audio cues you have for the blind people to guide their fighters or know where the other fighter is. Same, you have this same kind of easy access for combos. You don't need to put some special input, so it's very much the same as Forza. But the guy was saying, if I'm having very a lot of fun doing the fight, but to reach the fight, I need someone to assist me because I can't. There's so much text, and there's no really audio narrative to guide me there, and that's the issue, especially on Street Fighter with the 3D world. It lacks in guidance. Basically, that's what you were saying.
Okay, and my first story is going to be about something we have argued about on the show or discussed. Argued or discussed, I can't quite remember. I think it was probably argued. My first thing that I'm excited for, it's a feature I'd like to see more of, and I don't understand. I guess I understand why it was delayed this year, which you guys can guess is on-demand gaming. And as you would know, if you're a Netflix subscriber, and I would imagine most of the world is, because Netflix is the largest subscribing service in the world, right? Because Hulu, Disney Plus is available in a lot of the world, but it's not as widely available as Netflix is. But Netflix offers you on demand gaming, right? I was looking into this earlier this week or last week, I think, or maybe earlier this week. The only thing I wish is that you could do it on your PC, but this is exclusively available for your mobile devices, right? That they just launched the GTA series or remastered series on Netflix, right? Three of the GTAs, I don't remember which ones. There's Dead Cells, right, which is the trail I gave Adam for today. Dead Cells has its own special Netflix edition, and it's just literally awesome. It's hit the button, it launches within seconds, right? And again, I'll caveat this because I know that Adams always mentions this, right? You got to have the right internet, you got to have the right bandwidth, right? If you don't, of course, your on-demand gaming is dead on demand. Yes, but I think that's the future, especially for this demographic, right? You guys always hear me talking about middle-aged gaming because I always feel like a lot of the shows, podcasts, videos, they're not really catered towards people who like Antoine, we have kids and the kids have school, and he's just busy with a demanding career, demanding family, and just a little bit of time for himself, right? And me, who's just have I work for a startup company, so I work like I'm doing some sort of work 7 days a week, which is always irritating. But yeah, when I want a game, I want a game. I don't want to wait for my PC to load up. I just want to launch it on my phone or launch it on my iPad or launch it on whatever device I am. And wherever I am in the world, if I traveled to Switzerland for work, or if I went back to South Africa to spend time with family, or if I'm hanging out in Adam's house and Adam's having a chat with the wife, I can pick up my phone and launch Netflix and play some Dead Cells. Like that is the dream for me, right? I would pay like $50 a month, like honestly, US dollars, to have gaming on demand on any device, anywhere, and have a decent catalog. Game Pass's catalog is good, but it's actually not enough for me, to be honest, right? Like it's for someone like me who likes to have various categories of games, it's really not enough. But yeah, that's the feature I'm most excited for is a wider rollout of Xbox cloud gaming or Netflix's gaming infrastructure. And I don't see Microsoft doing it because they have bigger fish to fry, which is mostly OpenAI and ChatGPT. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think, unfortunately, the only company who's actually going to make a go of this gaming on demand thing is going to be Netflix because they have the infrastructure. They just need to get the gaming, and they just have to figure out, is this going to be worth it? I think it is, but we'll have to see.
If they want to do this, they need to start advertising it because I never saw Netflix advertising their gaming option.
They
If you
don't. I
didn't
mean,
talk to me about
yeah.
it, yes, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't even knew it existed before you said it, right?
Yeah, I thought they were
And I
still
think
in
it's
the
because, go
going to
ahead.
do it phase, not the we are doing it now phase.
But they are doing it, right? It's GTA is available, Dead Cells is available. There's a bunch of other strategy games, indie games. There's quite a lot of indie games on Netflix's gaming option, actually. But
No,
no,
it's just I'm thinking of other giants who tried and they failed mainly because nobody was aware of their product. I'm thinking Stadia, I'm thinking Luna. Who's aware of this? And of course, if you don't advertise your product, no one's gonna try it. So yeah, if you want Netflix, if you want us to try about this, I'm right now because of the failures that I just said. I'm not convinced. And if they are not, them not advertising it for me means that they are not convinced of their own product and they are afraid it's gonna fail and affect their all the platform negatively. If that's the set of mind they are in, if you're not convinced, I'm not convinced. Convince me that your product is good, then I'm gonna try it. That's basically the set of mind. I'm not saying that it's a bad technology and everything. It's just that if the people selling it to me, I'm not convinced in their own product, I'm gonna back off.
what were you going to say, Adam? Netflix is already in gaming. But no, Antoine is right. The marketing does make a lot of sense. At the same time, it was like, okay, if they don't market, they're just waiting for natural demand. But even on your mobile device, right? I have a iPhone 14 Max something plus, but it's the biggest iPhone, right? And you have to scroll down a fair bit before you get to the gaming. And then even once you're there, then you have to scroll that way on your phone in order to see all the options. And it's not like you don't. I've never seen a header on Netflix. Like on Netflix, you always see the headers like this is the new show, right? You don't see a header for oh my god, GTA is finally on Netflix, yay! No, you never see that. I haven't seen that at all since I know that Netflix had gaming, which is since June of this year, 2023. They've had gaming options. I'm not sure in every market, but at least in Taiwan, it's been available. That's yeah. I'm excited about it, but I think Antoine has a good point. Marketing and definitely a greater selection. No point in marketing it because from what I've seen in Taiwan, we only have 20 games. So GTA, Deadflix, was it Deadflix, Dead Cells? I didn't mean
Remember
that.
that one.
I didn't mean that at all. Um, there's a bunch of like cool indie strategy games like that are on my like Nintendo Switch wish list or my Steam wish list. So there's some good. There's actually some good games on. There's also some really horrible games. What is that game? Love Island is this Love Island stupid game, and there's Hot Body, Hot Cells. Oh God, I can't remember. But anyway, let's move on to Adam's second choice for features looking for 2024.
You go first, Adam. Korean, sorry, because yeah, no, sorry, no, because I have my idea on this, but Korean, you go first because I talk always way too much and I keep cutting in front.
Oh, no, it's the only thing is, as the guys were talking, I still need to do today's uploads, and I have class in the afternoon, so I'm trying to upload all the shorts on all the channels. And one of the things I just saw on Twitter, which was maybe today's breaking news, maybe it's not breaking, is that Sony has patented difficulty in gaming, and I wanted Adam's take on that.
We're
Go ahead,
gonna say
Antoine.
that.